Sometimes the reason that our dog struggles to do what we want it to is because we just make letting the dog know what it is we want too complicated. An example of this is the words that we use or the commands or instructions that we teach. So I want my dog to get down off the sofa and stop barking out the window. So I use the word no. And I want my dog to understand no means don't be barking out the window from the sofa. Unfortunately, I've already taught my dog that no individually means be quiet, but no also individually means get off the sofa. So now when he's on the sofa barking and I go no, he says now, is that for being on the sofa? Or is that for barking? Or is that for barking out the window whilst being on the sofa? So he has to make a judgment. So he says, I think this time it's for being on the sofa. So he jumps off the sofa, but carries on barking. And I go, no! And he then says, okay, so it obviously wasn't for being on the sofa. So maybe I should jump back on the sofa, but stop barking. So he does that. And I go, no! And he says, okay, so it wasn't for being on the sofa and it wasn't for the barking. So I guess it must have been for being on the sofa barking. So finally, he jumps down off the sofa and he stops barking. And I go, good boy. So when I'm teaching my dog, I teach my dogs that quiet means you're making a noise I don't want you to make, whether it's whining, whimpering, barking. So he learns that quiet means he's making some noise I don't want him to make. If he's jumped on the sofa or he's jumped on me or he's jumped on anything else, the instruction is off. So my dog learns off means your feet are somewhere I don't want them to be. So now with my dog, if he's on the sofa barking out the window and I say quiet, he understands that in theory he could possibly stay on the sofa, but he has to stop barking. If he was on the sofa barking out the window and I said off, he'd understand that in theory he could carry on barking, but he has to get off the sofa. Do you see how much easier that makes it for the dog? So try and think from the perspective of a dog rather than a person. How will my dog interpret the words I'm using? And try and make that as simple as you can. And that increases the likelihood you're going to get the dog that you want. Good luck with your training.